Hey, what's going on guys? John here, and today I wanted to do a video review for this kids trampoline. So this is actually a very small trampoline, obviously something that is very portable. You could use it indoors or outdoors if you wanted. In this video I'll kind of walk through some of the setup with it, and then I'll just give you some of my overall thoughts now that our daughter's been actually using this here for a few months. So in terms of the setup, I did actually have my wife help me with this. You have a pad that actually is pretty thick. I remember having a trampoline as a kid, and the padding on the larger trampoline that we had wasn't anywhere near as thick as this. So if like a foot was to go onto the edge here, it would actually go in between the springs. That's not going to happen with this one just due to the way that they designed it. It has a really thick pad that goes around, and if I actually lift some of this up, there's springs that basically go all throughout the entire thing. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is obviously doing this in the correct order. So if I do a spring here, I've got to go do a spring on adjacent sides as you go throughout the entire assembly. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time trying to pull this out. I recommend utilizing almost like a puller tool, maybe something with like a hook on it that you could hook onto it, so that way you can use your body weight and kind of lift, maybe have someone else hold down one of the sides, as some of the final springs are going to get pretty difficult. You have a large bar here that kind of goes up. This is very easily bolted in if you needed to take it off for any reason. It's literally just 2 screws on each side. You have a nice foam pad here that you know, your child can grab onto as they're jumping on it. This has you know, pretty good you know, thickness to it, in sense of like the springs really hold tight, so they're going to be able to get a good bounce on this, but it's not going to like, you know, throw them into the sky or anything like that where they're going to hurt themselves. Our daughter almost kind of skips on it. She's about 2.5 years old, and she almost does like a skip jump, and absolutely has a blast on it. You have obviously this cool rocket design on here. One thing we did notice with the foam was one day she was actually chewing on this with her mouth, so we just kind of tore the rest of this out. So obviously something to be aware of if you have young ones, that they don't end up eating this. Just obviously be watching them while they're on this. I definitely do not recommend leaving children unattended on something like this. On the bottom side, you do have you know, these large pieces here, these rings that keep it stable, and then you have adjustments as well if you want to raise this up. So there's multiple spin pieces here that you can move, and that I believe will allow you to raise the bar, I think. Other than that, really not too much to it. You can see how many springs there are, so it will take a little bit of time setting all that up, but otherwise, once it's good, it's pretty easy. We actually will simply just pick it up and angle it through into our, we have like a spare room over there, and we'll put it away in a spare room when it's not being used, and that way if we're like cooking dinner or something and we're not fully paying attention to our daughter at the moment, we're not going to be worried that she's going to be jumping on this and potentially getting hurt. So anyway, it's a really awesome trampoline, I think, for what it is. Our daughter loves it, and I think if you're looking for something like this for outdoors or for your kids inside, it'd definitely be a good bet. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video review.